Hey, cause I'm full of roadie. I got my name full of roadie. I ride with the gang on the roadie. We landed bang on the roadie. And shout out la roadie, we two-turned. And the city is hot like June 1st. They faking the streets, but real in they songs. But that ain't gon' cut it like Cool Herc. Hey, cause I'm full of roadie. I got my name full of roadie. I ride with the gang on the roadie. We landed bang on the roadie. And shout out la roadie, we two-turned. And the city is hot like June 1st. They faking the streets, but real in they songs. But that ain't gon' cut it like Cool Herc.
If I didn't have my case coming up, I'd like to come back with you gentlemen when this is over with and really lay the law down, what's going on in this country.
Considered by many mafia observers to be the most double-dealing boss in the country, such was the reputation of Raymond L.S. Patriarca. Preferring the title Padrone, meaning master, Patriarca, like mob boss Vito Genovese, was so respected and feared that he was able to run his criminal empire even while serving time in prison. Establishing his iron-fisted rule over Massachusetts and the surrounding area, Patriarca warned other mafia bosses to stay out of his territory. In fact, stay out of all New England. And they did.
Now imagine, like, Raymond sits in Rhode Island. This ashtray is Rhode Island. And there's this that's the middle of a wheel, and all these spokes run out, lines of them into Worcester, into Springfield, into Boston, and all these different cities and suburban towns. Now, when the lines go there, he has an office there, the main office in each town or city. Now, in that main office, there might be 25 25 chartered clubs or bars, more than that, in that city, that all turn back to that main office. Now, the main office sends somebody back towards Raymond, and at a certain point, not directly to Raymond, but to somebody Raymond trusts just outside of Rhode Island, picks up that money and brings it to Raymond. And you got all these people, you understand what is developing from this main artery, that thousands of people that he controls in the way of bookmakers and so forth, and the runners and so forth, and pickup men. And gambling is, they're not wrong in regards to the 5 cent or 3 cent number. You understand that, when it deals in volume, it brings it back millions and millions and billions of dollars a year.
Born to immigrant parents in Worcester, Massachusetts, on March 18, 1908, Patriarca began his criminal career during the 1920s as a soldier for Frank Iacone.
Just did a piece of work. Good. Put him in. It's up to you. What do you say? Here's the kid, Sonny. Good. Don't be afraid.
How you doing, kid?
Good.
We finally meet face to face.
Yeah.
Are you afraid of me?
No.
That's good. What's your name?
Claudio.
That's a big name. You got a nickname or something?
No.
What do your friends call you?
Clodro.
That makes sense. What are you, a Yankee fan?
Yeah.
Sit down. No, come over here. Sit over here next to me. Come here. So you must be pretty upset after the Yankees lost.
Bill Mazeroski. I hate him. He made Mickey Mantle cry. The paper said that the Nick was crying.
Mickey Mantle, is that what you're upset about? Mickey Mantle makes $100,000 a year. How much does your father make?
I don't know.
You don't know? Well, see if your father can't pay the rent. Go ask Mickey Mantle, see what he tells you. Mickey Mantle don't care about you, so why should you care about him? Nobody cares.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Did you shoot that man over Balkan's base?
When you get older, you'll understand.
Mm-hmm.
From that day on, I never felt the same way about the Yankees again.
Patriarca's first job in organized crime was during Prohibition, when he was hired to protect beer and liquor shipments. He was good at his job, and no one dared try to hijack the illegal contraband under his watch. However, he could be bribed to look the other way. The ultimate double cross, receiving money to protect the shipments, while at the same time taking a bribe to allow them to be hijacked.
Paulie had his union people scare them with a strike. It was beautiful. It was an even bigger moneymaker than numbers, and Jimmy was in charge of it all. Whenever we needed money, we'd rob the airport. To us, it was better than Citibank.
Joey, give me some small fries.
The nightingale tells his fairy tale of paradise.
You got a phone? Come on, you got a phone? It's over there. 2 niggers just stole my truck. Can you believe that shit, huh? You fucking believe that?
During the 1930s and 40s, his major interests were gambling, vice, and loan sharking. He was linked to the Dunes Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas and, according to the McClellan Senate hearings, had a good working relationship with the Prime Minister of the mob, Frank Costello. Patriarca was both brutal and vicious in his demands. J. Robert Nash wrote in his World Encyclopedia of Organized Crime, he, meaning Patriarca, once ordered an elderly mafioso to murder his own son because the younger man had cost him some money when a deal fell through. When the man wept that he could not do it, Patriarca threw him out of the family and relented only when his underboss, Henry Tamaleo, pleaded the case. As if not to be outdone by this episode, Patriarca, for a time, placed a contract on the head of his own brother. His brother had been put in charge of security and failed to notice an FBI bug planted in his office.
Oh shit. Fuck, is that the cops there, man? That's all. What the hell they gonna do? Give us a ticket? Stuff's in the car, Frank. What? Some of it's in the trunk.
How you doing, Frank?
I'm good. How you doing, detective? How was your Thanksgiving?
Not so good, as a matter of fact. Why don't you get out of the car?
Close it up, throw it back in the trunk, everybody go home, have some pumpkin pie, warm apple cider.
Well, I got a better idea. Or would you rather me throw you and your brother in the fucking river?
What's he doing? Shake down. Somebody's getting some money for the benevolent fund.
Sorry, Frank. I ain't gonna get in the car.
Patriarca, like the older mafioso, avoided publicity. He was crafty for the most part, avoiding arrest. He slipped up once in 1938, being convicted of armed robbery. He received a 5-year sentence, but due to his political connections and the pleadings of a priest named Father Fagan, he was released after only serving 84 days. After a public outcry, investigators attempted to contact Father Fagan, only to find out he didn't exist.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long year. I stole many a man's soul of faith. I was around when Jesus Christ had his moment of doubt and pain. Made damn sure that Pilate.
Subsequently, Patriarca was sent back to prison, serving close to 2 years. By the time the 1940s rolled around, Patriarca was recognized as a mafia leader, and by the 1950s, he was the undisputed boss in Boston and throughout all New England. No one dared encroach on his territory, no one except a young gang of Irish sluggers headed by Bernard McLaughlin. McLaughlin and his gang attempted to muscle in on Patriarca's loan sharking rackets and paid the ultimate price. The whole gang, almost to the man, was wiped out. For over 25 years, Patriarca built his empire, enforced his edicts, and eliminated the competition, all with very little public exposure. For over 25 years, Patriarca built his empire, enforced his edicts, and eliminated the competition, all with very little public exposure. That changed, however, in June of 1967. Joseph Barboza, a convicted Patriarca hitman whose crew had been wiped out by the New England crime boss, found out he had been marked for death, and so he turned government witness.
We made the deal. I tell every person, don't take this money if you can't pay it every week. I prefer you not take this money because it can lead you into trouble.
If a customer did take the money and couldn't pay it back, there was trouble.
This was almost typical. If a guy was 7 weeks late, say in the area of six or 7 weeks late, and he was hiding, and I found him, I said, I threatened him, and I told him that you better come down the corner and straighten this out. Now the fellow would continue hiding because he didn't have the money. And I could not like accept. I could not let myself accept that he was in trouble. So that I stabbed guys after 14 weeks that still continue to hide. You know, I stabbed them in the face, I stabbed them in the legs, I stabbed them in the arms, I stabbed them in the chest. You understand?
Barboza and other loan sharks justify this kind of treatment on the basis of the deal. And surprisingly, they say even the recipients of the violence agreed.
See, most of these people, the ones that I heard, knew that I was right. Maybe I was wrong in the way that I did it, you know, as far as the excess violence that I did it, but still they said that they deserved it. They didn't relish it, but they knew as far as the deal itself, they were wrong.
The money made on loan sharking is enormous. For example, Joe Barboza had just one corner and one section of East Boston.
It grew up to $5,500 a week. Interest.
How much money did you have out to get $5,500 a week?
Well, I was a little lucky. I only had about $65,000. I had one man that I gave $21,000 to, and he used to give me $1,800 a week.
There are some freelance loan sharks, but very few successful ones. The successful sharks are soon paid a visit and are usually made an offer they can't refuse.
You start off with $1,000. Yeah, it ain't nothing. Once you start making some good money, that's when they step in on you and say, listen, we'll give you the right to Shylock. Shylock belongs to, you know, to the office. And you've been doing Shylock for a long, long time.
Excuse me, Joe, what do you mean by the office?
The office, in other words, it goes an entree. They wait till you make some money. Then they say, all right, we're your partners. We want 50% of your business. Any trouble that you have, we'll take it. You don't have to hit nobody. You don't have to do this. They didn't do that.
What do you mean hit?
I mean, anybody, you know, what they use. What they use if they hit you, you know, slap you, stab you, hit you with some kind of an implement or... I'm going to tell you something. If anybody died from Shylock, it'd be a $90 customer. It won't be a $5,000 customer because that doesn't get you your money back.
Tomorrow, Barbosa will define the structure of New England. Barbosa defined the structure of the New England mob. Barbosa's position as a contract killer required direct contact with the man said to be the boss of the New England crime syndicate, Raymond Patriarca.
Now, imagine, like, Raymond sits in Rhode Island. This ashtray is Rhode Island. And there's this, that's the middle of a wheel, and all these spokes run out, lines of them into Worcester, into Springfield, into Boston, and all these different cities and suburban towns. Now, when the lines go there, he has an office there, the main office in each town or city. Now, in that main office, there might be 25 25 chartered clubs or bars, more than that, in that city, that all turn back to that main office. Now, the main office sends somebody back towards Raymond, and at a certain point, not directly to Raymond, but to somebody Raymond trusts just outside of Rhode Island, picks up that money and brings it to Raymond. And you got all these people, you know, you understand what is developing from this main artery, that thousands of people that he controls in the way of bookmakers and so forth, and the runners and so forth, and pickup men. And gambling is, you know, they're not wrong in regards to the 5 cent or 3 cent number money. You understand that, you know, when it deals in volume, it brings it back millions and millions and billions of dollars a year.
The indictments last week against Boston's alleged mafia leaders confirm that such structure still exists as described by Barbosa, and that Raymond Patriarca of Providence, Rhode Island, is the boss of that syndicate. Barbosa described the simple way that members of the syndicate are identified to each other.
Joe, this is Jim. Jim is our friend. Joe is our friend. Understand? Or they'll say, they never, if there's somebody that's not connected, they never say our friend. I want you to meet so-and-so.
It was some of these same so-called friends who double-crossed Barbosa and caused him to turn informer and to go on to become the most important witness against the mob ever. Here he reads from an undelivered letter to Patriarca, citing his reasons for doing so.
They killed Tash and Tommy DePrisco in the nightlife. They took off their persons money totaling over $70,000, which belonged to me in regards to the bail. Killed Chico on December 7th, 1966. Raymond sent word to me that if I go to his office and straighten it out, then nothing would happen to my wife and child. They did plot and try to kill my wife and child. The office tried to kill my brother. They tried to kill my wife's cousin, Sid. They turned attorney of mine against me, and he was opening letters. I was sneaking out through him and letting them read them. The office spread the rumor that they were mad at me for shaking certain people in nightclubs down, even though I never moved on any club or person until the office gave me the okay. I only answered to Raymond and his emissary. At first, it used to reach me, the informant at Canary Bay. It doesn't reach me anymore, because I have a purpose in life. I have only one purpose, and that is, the best way I can put it is to get a little peace of mind.
Patriarca was convicted on conspiracy to commit murder in the death of Rocco DeSiglio. Thinking he had the last laugh, Barbosa's testimony handed Patriarca a 6-year prison stint. He was finally released from his confinement in 1975. But a year later, the last laugh may have been Patriarca's. Joseph Barbosa was gunned down on the streets of San Francisco. As the late 70s approached, Patriarca found his past was coming back to haunt him. The new RICO laws and drug cases, in which hefty sentences were being handed down, caused the once proud tradition of omerta to begin a singing career. And sing it did. On December 4th, 1980, Patriarca was indicted in the 1965 murder of small-time hood Raymond Curcio. 4 months later, another charge landed at Patriarca's feet for the 1968 execution of Robert Candos. And if this wasn't enough, 7 months after that, Patriarca was indicted for labor racketeering. Patriarca was 69 when the first of these indictments were leveled. With numerous delays and legal maneuvers by his team of attorneys, Patriarca was sure he could beat the government, and in a way, he did. On July 11, 1984, at the age of 76, Raymond L.S. Patriarca accomplished a feat most crime bosses never realized. He died. Not in a hail of gunfire, not in a cold prison cell, but of a heart attack at the residence of a girlfriend.
And like that, he's gone.